24 months. That's how long I worked the overnight shift at the South Side Distribution Center. 24 months, and I never once had a quiet night. Not until the night I quit. I want to tell you exactly what happened, because if you ever see a job listing for the night shift at that facility, you need to remember this. The building is 50,000 square meters. Shelving rows 20 feet high. The kind of place where sound travels sideways. A footstep in the east wing echoes off the west wall. You learn to tune it out. If you don't, you go crazy. I was already going crazy. Just not the way I thought. My radio broke 3 weeks before it happened. Just static. White noise. I put in a repair request. The form is still sitting in the manager's inbox. On a normal night, I walk the perimeter every 2 hours. Check the doors, log the temperature, write down the time. It's boring, that's the point. Tonight started normal. I did my first round at 10. Everything was fine. The south corridor lights flickered the way they always do. The heater clicked on and off at the usual intervals. Then I checked my phone. 10:17 p.m. That's what it said. But the clock above the security desk said 10 exactly. I stared at it for a while. Checked my phone again. 10:18. The wall clock still said 10 o'clock. I walked to the break room. The clock there said 10 o'clock. The east wing. The shipping bay. Every clock in the building said 10 o'clock. Every single one. 17 minutes slow. I told myself it was an electrical issue. Old building. Voltage fluctuations. It happens. I finished my round. Logged everything. Sat down at the desk. At midnight, I walked the north corridor. The decommissioned section. They shut that part down 6 months ago after a structural issue. No lights, no cameras. Just a locked door at the end of the hallway and a sign that says, "Do not enter. Unauthorized access prohibited." That's when I heard it. A footstep. From above. I stopped walking. Held my breath. Listened. Nothing. Just the normal settling sounds. The building contracts when it cools down. Everyone knows that. I kept walking. At 12:45, I did something I don't normally do. I stopped at the security desk in the decommissioned section, the one they left behind when they shut it down. Dust everywhere. Papers still on the desk. A coffee mug with something growing in it. I opened the drawer. I don't know why. Curiosity, I guess. Inside was a logbook. The last one from before they closed the section. I flipped through it. Normal entries, temperature checks, door inspections. Then I got to the last page. The final entry was dated 6 months ago. It said, 3:15 a.m. Footsteps above. Same as every night. Going to check the roof access. That was the last entry. Nothing after it. I closed the drawer and walked back to the main section. At 1 a.m., I was back at the security desk. I sat down, checked the monitors. All clear. The radio was still static. I leaned back in the chair, and I started counting. The stairs to the mezzanine. I've walked them 1,000 times. Never counted before. Don't know why I started. 13. Always 13. I went and counted them. 14. Walked up and down 3 times. 14. Every time. I stood at the bottom of that staircase for a long time, trying to make sense of it. 14 steps in a staircase that has always had 13, in a building I have walked every night for 2 years. I told myself I was tired. Double shifts, 4 hours of sleep a night. My brain was playing tricks. Sleep deprivation causes spatial distortions. I read that somewhere. Then I heard the knocking from the floor above me. 3 knocks, then 5, then 8. I sat there, didn't move, didn't breathe. A minute of silence. Then it started again. 3, 5, 8. I used to be good at math. Fibonacci sequence. The numbers grow, they don't repeat. Someone was knocking Fibonacci numbers into the floor of a section of this building that has been locked and empty for 6 months. I should have left. I know that now. But I couldn't. My phone was in the car. 400 meters across open ground, in the dark. Company policy, no phones on the floor. Distraction risk. Plus the radio was broken. Plus I didn't know where the knocking was coming from. If I ran, I might run toward it. So I stayed. At 2:30, I walked to the staircase again. I don't know why. I had to see if the steps were still 14. They were. I counted twice, and then I heard breathing, directly behind me, from the doorway at the bottom of the stairs. Not heavy breathing, not fast, controlled, deliberate. The kind of breathing someone does when they are trying not to be heard. I didn't turn around. I just stood there, held my breath. The breathing stopped. I exhaled. The breathing started again. Closer. That's when I understood. It tracks breath, not sound, not movement. The exhale, the CO2, the warmth leaving your lungs. That's how it finds you. I held my breath and walked. 12 seconds. Felt like 12 minutes. Made it back to the security desk. I sat there until 3:15 a.m. Every night for the past 6 months, the building's activity logs show something at 3:15. The motion sensors in the decommissioned section trigger. The temperature drops 4 degrees. Then nothing. The day shift manager told me once, said it was probably rodents, said not to worry about it. Tonight, at 3:15, I heard footsteps above me, walking across the floor, directly over the security desk. Then they stopped. Something sat down. I heard the creak of weight settling, the shift of balance, like someone getting comfortable. Right above my head. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I sat in that chair for an hour and 45 minutes. I breathed through my nose as slowly as I could. I didn't look up. I didn't leave the booth. At 5 a.m., the lights in the decommissioned section turned off. I don't know who turned them on. I didn't know they could still turn on. I walked out of that building, and I didn't look back. I lost my job. Abandoning your post is automatic termination. No appeal. No exception. I lost the custody case. My ex-wife's lawyer made sure of that. Unemployed, unstable. Abandoned his workplace in the middle of the night with no explanation. Is that the kind of father you want raising your child? Here's what I didn't tell them. Here's what I didn't tell anyone. When I walked out of that building at 5 a.m., the sun was just coming up. I was halfway across the parking lot when I looked back at the decommissioned section, the windows on the second floor. They've been dark for 6 months, boarded up on the outside. There was a footprint on the inside of one of the windows. Not on the outside. On the inside. A bare foot, pressed against the glass. heel at the bottom, toes pointing up, like someone had stood on the windowsill and pressed their foot against the glass from inside the room. The windows are on the second floor. There's no ledge outside, no balcony, no fire escape. The decommissioned section has been locked from the outside for 6 months. The doors are chained. The windows are boarded from the outside. No one has been in there. No one could have been in there. But someone has been living in that space, walking above me every night, sitting directly over my head at 3:15 a.m., pressing their bare foot against the glass while I sat in the parking lot and didn't look up. I went back during the day. A week later, I told the manager I forgot something in my locker. The decommissioned section door was still chained. I walked around the building, looked up at the windows. The footprint was gone. But there was something new. A word, scratched into the glass from the inside. Small, hard to read. Thanks for the company. I never once looked up. Not in 2 years. Not once. They're still hiring for that position. I checked last week. Competitive pay, overnight differential, no experience required. The listing has a photo of the facility. You can see the decommissioned section in the background. The windows are still boarded up. If you take that job, check the clocks when you arrive. Count the stairs on your first round. Read the last entry in the old logbook if you find it. And if you hear knocking from above, 3, then 5, then 8. Don't hold your breath to be quiet. Hold your breath, because whatever is up there already knows exactly where you are. It knew where I was for 2 years, and I never once looked up. I look up now. Every room I walk into, every ceiling, every dark corner above a doorway, I look up. And sometimes, late at night, when the house is quiet, I swear I hear 3 knocks from the attic. But I don't have an attic. There was a footprint on the floor of the sealed corridor. Just one. Damp. Barefoot. Adult-sized. I know because I checked the floor at 2 a.m. Dry. Clean. I always check. It's part of my rounds. At 3 a.m., I checked again. The footprint was there. Fresh enough that the edges hadn't dried yet. No one has been in that corridor for 6 weeks. The door is locked from the outside. I have the only key. I'm a night shift nurse, 29 years old. This is my 3rd consecutive shift without a day off. We're understaffed. We're always understaffed. I work on the 4th floor of Mercy Hospital. The East Wing is being renovated. Half the corridor is sealed off behind a locked door. Construction was supposed to take 3 months. It's been 6 weeks. No workers have been seen in the last month. The hospital keeps the lights on in the sealed section. For safety, they say. Fire code. So I can see the flickering from the main corridor. The light at the end of the hallway. The one that flashes in a steady rhythm. Not random. Not a power issue. 1 second on, 1 second off. Exactly. For 6 weeks. I told myself it was a faulty ballast. Old building, old wiring. It happens. But I've been a nurse for 7 years. I know what a faulty ballast looks like. This wasn't that. 2 nights ago, I was doing my rounds. 2 a.m. The floor was quiet. Most of my patients were asleep. Mrs. Patterson in 3B, her potassium was low this morning. I made a note to check her labs. Mr. Chen in 3D. No visitors, no family. If I don't check on him, no one will. I walked past the sealed door, paused, listened. Nothing. I kept walking. At 3 a.m., I came back. The door was still locked. The light was still flickering. But there was something else. Breathing. From the other side of the door. Slow. Controlled. The kind of breathing someone does when they are trying not to be heard. I pressed my ear against the door. Silence. I stepped back. Looked down. The footprint. I stood there for a while. Heart rate elevated. Pupils dilated. Respiratory shallow. I ran a differential diagnosis in my head. Not stroke, not seizure, not intoxication. Just fear. I haven't felt fear in a long time. 7 years in a hospital. You see things. You stop reacting. This was different. I checked the temperature log on my tablet, the smart thermostat in the sealed wing. I have access because the HVAC is connected to the main system. Every night at 3:11 a.m., the temperature in the sealed corridor drops to 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Every night. For 6 weeks. The log goes back further. Before the renovation started. Before the workers left. Before the door was locked. The temperature drop started before any of that. 3:11 a.m. 58 degrees. Every single night. I told myself it was a sensor malfunction. Happens all the time. I put in a work order. I deal with it in the morning. But I didn't deal with it in the morning. Because at 3:11 a.m., I was standing at the sealed door again, watching the light flicker, watching the footprint dry on the floor. And I heard it again. The breathing. Closer this time. Not on the other side of the door. On my side. I turned around. No one was there. But the breathing continued. From behind me. From the direction of the sealed door. I turned back. The door was open. Just a crack. Dark inside. The light at the end of the hallway, the one that had been flickering for 6 weeks, was off. I reached for my phone. To call the security desk, to call anyone. No signal. I looked at the door to the main corridor, the one that leads back to my patients, to Mrs. Patterson, to Mr. Chen. It was closed. I don't remember closing it. I stood there, between 2 doors, one open to the dark, one closed to the light, and I felt something, a pressure in my chest, not cardiac, not anxiety, something else, something physical, the sound frequency, too low to hear, too low to record, but the body feels it. I've read about this. Infrasound. The body's alarm system activating before the brain understands why. I was holding my breath. I didn't realize it. I had been holding my breath for I don't know how long. I exhaled. Something exhaled with me. From inside the sealed corridor. Not an echo. Not a mimic. A breath. At the same time, the same duration, the same volume. Like someone was standing right next to me, breathing when I breathed. I didn't inhale again. I walked to the main corridor door, pushed it. It didn't open. Locked. I tried the handle again. Locked. From the outside. I have the only key to the sealed door, but someone else has a key to the main door. Someone who wanted to keep me here. I turned back to the sealed corridor. The door was open wider now, wide enough to see inside. The light at the end was still off, but something else was on. A red light, small, at floor level, moving. Not a flashlight, not an emergency light. Something else. I squinted, tried to focus. The red light blinked. It blinked in rhythm with my heartbeat. I put my hand on my chest, felt my pulse, counted. 1 beat, blink. 2 beats, blink. 3 beats, blink. Something in that corridor could see my heart, could see it beating, could match it. I blinked. The red light moved. Closer. I blinked again. Closer. That's when I understood. It moves when I blink, when I look away, when I close my eyes. It cannot move when I am watching. But I am a nurse. I have been awake for 22 hours. I am exhausted. My eyes are dry. I blink constantly. Every blink brings it closer. I stopped blinking. I forced my eyes open, stared at the red light. It stopped moving. I stood there, eyes wide, tears streaming down my face because I couldn't blink, couldn't close my eyes, couldn't look away. The red light stared back. I don't know how long I stood there. Minutes, hours. I don't know. But at some point, I heard a sound from the main corridor. On the other side of the locked door, a voice. Mr. Chen. Nurse? Nurse, are you there? I wanted to answer. I wanted to tell him I was okay. But I couldn't look away from the red light. Couldn't blink. Couldn't close my eyes. If I closed my eyes, even for a second, it would move. And I didn't know how close it already was. Nurse? Mr. Chen called again. I need help. I closed my eyes. Just for a second. Just to call back to him. Just to tell him I was coming. I closed my eyes. When I opened them, the red light was gone. The sealed door was closed. The main door was unlocked. I ran. I ran to Mr. Chen's room. He was fine. His call light was on. He needed water. I got him water. I checked on Mrs. Patterson. I checked on everyone. I finished my shift. I went home. I slept for 14 hours. I didn't go back to the sealed corridor. I didn't check the temperature log. I didn't look at the footage from the security cameras. I told myself it was exhaustion, sleep deprivation, my brain playing tricks. But last night, I was at home, in my apartment, alone, and I saw a red light on my nightstand, small, at floor level, moving. I blinked. It moved closer. I blinked again. Closer. I haven't slept since. I can't. Every time I close my eyes, I feel it. The pressure in my chest, the breath matching mine, the red light watching. I called the hospital this morning, asked about the sealed corridor. They said no one has been in there for 6 weeks. The door is locked. The key is in the security office. They said the temperature log shows normal readings, 72 degrees, every night. They said there is no red light. There never was. I believed them. I believed them because I checked my apartment. There is no red light on my nightstand. There never was. But I saw it. I saw it move. Every time I blinked. I'm blinking now. As I record this, I can't help it. My eyes are dry. I'm exhausted. I've been awake for, I don't remember how long. Every time I blink, I see it. The red light. Closer than before. I think it followed me home. I think it's in my apartment now. I think it's standing right behind me. I'm going to close my eyes now. Just for a second. Just to rest them. I know I shouldn't. I know what happens when I blink. But I'm so tired. I'll see you on the other side. Or maybe it will see me first.